Have you ever wondered why change feels so hard? Let's start with a question that probably hits close to home. Have you ever set a goal, whether it's losing weight, sticking to a new habit, or finally tackling that project you've been putting off and found yourself slipping back into old patterns within days? If so, you're not alone. In fact, most of us struggle with change, even when we genuinely want it. We make resolutions, create detailed plans, and promise ourselves we'll do better only to feel frustrated when things don't stick. But what if the problem isn't your willpower or motivation? What if the real issue is how we approach change in the first place? That's where Atomic Habits by James Clear comes in. This book doesn't just offer another quick fix or vague advice about discipline. Instead, it dives deep into the science of human behavior and reveals why small changes can lead to remarkable results over time. Think about it this way. One tiny improvement every day might seem insignificant on its own, but compounded over weeks, months, and years, those small wins add up to something extraordinary. Whether you're trying to build better habits, break bad ones, or simply improve your daily life, Atomic Habits gives you the tools to make lasting change, not through sheer force of will, but through smart strategies that work with your brain, not against it. A fresh take on building lasting habits in Atomic Habits, James Clear flips the script on traditional self-improvement advice. Rather than chasing massive overnight transformations, he argues that true, sustainable change happens through tiny, consistent actions, the kind most people overlook. As a former baseball player who suffered a severe injury early in his career, Clear knows firsthand how setbacks can derail progress. His personal journey led him to study high-performance individuals across various fields, from athletes to artists to business leaders, uncovering a common thread. Success isn't about grand gestures or extreme discipline, it's about mastering the fundamentals of habit formation. What sets Atomic Habits apart from other books on personal development is its focus on systems over goals. While many motivational guides tell you to dream big and push harder, Clear takes a different approach. He shows that instead of obsessing over end results, you should design an environment that naturally encourages good habits and discourages bad ones. By understanding how habits are formed through cues, cravings, responses, and rewards, you gain the power to shape your behavior without relying solely on willpower. Whether you want to improve your health, boost productivity, or cultivate a more positive mindset, Atomic Habits offers practical, science-backed strategies that make lasting change not only possible but inevitable if you know how to stack the odds in your favor. The 4 laws of behavior change. Building better habits step by step. At the heart of Atomic Habits lies a simple yet powerful framework. The 4 laws of behavior change. These laws make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying are the foundation for building good habits and breaking bad ones. Think of them as a step-by-step guide to shaping your behavior without relying on brute force or sheer willpower. Let's break each one down with relatable examples to see how they work in everyday life. 1. Make it obvious. The cue principle. The first law is all about visibility. If you want to build a new habit, you need to make sure you actually remember to do it. Our brains rely on cue triggers that prompt action, so making those cues clear and unavoidable increases the chances of forming a habit. For instance, if you want to drink more water, leave a full glass on your kitchen counter. If you want to read more, place a book on your nightstand. Conversely, if you want to reduce screen time, put your phone in another room. The idea is to design your environment so that the habit you want becomes the path of least resistance. Clear introduces the concept of habit stacking, where you attach a new habit to an existing one. For example, after brushing your teeth, current habit, take 5 minutes to meditate, new habit. By linking the two, you use an established routine as a reminder system, making consistency easier. 2. Make it attractive. The craving principle. Habits form because they provide some form of reward, whether immediate or long-term. But if a habit feels like a chore, you're less likely to stick with it. That's where the second law comes in, making the habit appealing. One effective strategy is temptation bundling, which pairs something you enjoy with something you need to do. For example, if you love listening to podcasts but struggle to exercise, only allow yourself to listen while running or cycling. This creates an association between the habit and a pleasurable experience, increasing your motivation to follow through. Another way to make habits more attractive is to surround yourself with people who already engage in the behavior you want to adopt. Social groups have a strong influence on our habits. Being around others who consistently practice a habit makes it more enticing and normalized. 3. Make it easy. The response principle: if a habit is too difficult, inconvenient, or time-consuming, you'll eventually give up on it. That's why reducing friction is key. The easier a habit is to perform, the more likely you are to do it. Consider someone trying to eat healthier. They might stock their fridge with pre-cut vegetables instead of whole produce that requires washing and chopping. Or think of someone wanting to write regularly. They might keep a notebook by their bedside instead of waiting until they can sit at a desk. The principle of 2-minute rules also applies here. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. Small actions compound over time, leading to significant progress. Additionally, automation plays a crucial role in habit formation. Setting up automatic savings transfers ensures you consistently save money without having to think about it. Using technology to your advantage, like scheduling reminders or using apps that track your progress, makes habit execution effortless. 4. Make it satisfying. The reward principle. Finally, reinforcing good habits with immediate satisfaction keeps you motivated. Human beings are wired to respond to instant gratification, which is why long-term benefits often fail to drive consistent action. To combat this, create ways to celebrate small wins. For example, if you're trying to stick to a workout routine, mark each completed session on a calendar. Seeing a growing streak builds momentum and reinforces the habit. Similarly, tracking progress, whether through journaling, fitness apps, or habit tracking sheets, creates a sense of accomplishment. On the flip side, making bad habits unsatisfying works just as well. If you want to cut back on junk food, make unhealthy snacks less accessible, store them in hard-to-reach places, or replace them with healthier alternatives. Over time, the discomfort of repeating the negative behavior outweighs the temporary pleasure, making it easier to resist temptation. By applying these 4 laws, you can systematically build habits that stick. Whether you're trying to develop a morning routine, improve your finances, or enhance your relationships, the key is to make desired behaviors obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. Once you understand how habits are formed and reinforced, you can stop fighting against your natural tendencies and start working with them to create lasting change. Putting the 4 laws into action. Now that you understand the core principles behind habit formation, let's dive into how you can apply the 4 laws of behavior change to your daily life. The beauty of these laws is that they aren't abstract theories, they're practical strategies you can implement right away. Whether you're trying to build a new habit or break an old one, these steps will help you turn intention into action. Make it obvious. Start with your environment. Your surroundings play a huge role in shaping your behavior. If you want to build a habit, start by designing your space to support it. For example, if you want to read more, keep a book on your coffee table or next to your bed. If you want to drink more water, place a filled glass on your desk. Conversely, if you want to reduce distractions, remove temptations from your environment. If social media is pulling your attention away from important tasks, delete the apps from your phone or use website blockers. Try this tomorrow. Take 10 minutes to rearrange your workspace or home to make your desired habit more visible and accessible. Make it attractive. Temptation bundling. In practice, one of the biggest obstacles to habit formation is motivation. If a habit feels like a chore, you won't stick with it. Temptation bundling helps solve this by pairing something you enjoy with something you need to do. For instance, if you love watching your favorite show but want to get more exercise, only allow yourself to watch it while on the treadmill. If you love scrolling through Instagram but want to read more, only check social media after finishing a chapter of your book. Try this tomorrow. Identify one activity you enjoy and pair it with a habit you want to build. Make it easy. Reduce friction instantly. If a habit is too complicated or time-consuming, you'll likely abandon it. The key is to make the habit as effortless as possible. Want to start exercising? Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Want to cook healthier meals? Prep ingredients ahead of time. Even small adjustments can significantly increase the likelihood of following through. Try this tomorrow. Find one way to simplify your habit by cutting out unnecessary steps. Make it satisfying. Track your progress. Humans crave immediate feedback. Long-term rewards often feel too distant to motivate consistent action, so creating short-term rewards helps reinforce the habit loop. Use habit trackers, journals, or apps to monitor your progress. Each time you complete a habit, acknowledge it, mark it off on a calendar, say a motivating phrase out loud, or treat yourself to something small. Over time, these small celebrations build momentum and keep you engaged. Try this tomorrow. Start a habit tracker and commit to checking it off every time you complete your habit. By applying these strategies, you're no longer relying on willpower alone, you're setting yourself up for success. Remember, habits aren't built overnight, but with the right system in place, you can make lasting change feel effortless. Breaking bad habits, rewiring your routine. So far, we've focused on building good habits, but what about the habits you want to eliminate? Whether it's mindless snacking, procrastination, or constantly checking your phone, bad habits can feel stubborn and deeply ingrained. The good news is that the same principles that help you build positive behaviors can be used to dismantle negative ones. By flipping the 4 laws of behavior change, you can create a system that makes bad habits invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. Let's explore how. Make it invisible. Remove the triggers. Just as making a good habit obvious increases the chance of doing it, making a bad habit invisible reduces the likelihood of falling into it. The first step in breaking a habit is identifying its cue. What triggers the behavior in the first place? Is your phone always within reach, prompting constant distractions? Do you snack while watching TV because the chips are right there? By removing or altering these cues, you disrupt the habit loop before it even begins. For example, if you find yourself doom scrolling late at night, try keeping your phone in another room after a certain hour. If you tend to eat unhealthy snacks while working, replace them with fruit or store them somewhere less accessible. Make it unattractive. Reframe the narrative. Habits persist because they provide some form of reward, even if it's short-lived. To break a bad habit, you need to shift your perception of it. One effective technique is identity-based thinking, reframing your self-image to align with the person you want to become. Instead of telling yourself, "I shouldn't eat junk food," try saying, "I'm the kind of person who takes care of my body." This subtle shift in language changes the way you view the habit, making it less appealing. Additionally, reminding yourself of the consequences, such as sluggish energy from poor eating or wasted time from procrastination, can help you resist temptation. Make it difficult. Increase the friction. If a habit is easy to do, you'll keep doing it. But if you introduce obstacles, you make it less likely to happen. For instance, if you frequently spend too much time online, use app blockers or set time limits on social media platforms. If you struggle with impulse purchases, remove saved credit card information from shopping sites. The idea is to make the habit effortful enough that you pause and reconsider before acting. The more steps required to engage in the habit, the less likely you are to follow through. Make it unsatisfying. Disrupt the reward. Every habit delivers a reward, even if it's not beneficial in the long run. To break a bad habit, you need to make it less satisfying in the moment. One way to do this is by implementing immediate consequences. For example, if you catch yourself procrastinating, assign yourself a small penalty like doing 10 push-ups or writing down why you gave in. Over time, your brain will start associating the habit with discomfort rather than pleasure. Another approach is to replace the bad habit with a better alternative that fulfills the same craving. If you snack out of boredom, try going for a walk or chewing gum instead. Finding a healthier substitute allows you to maintain the reward while shifting toward a more productive behavior. Breaking bad habits isn't about sheer willpower, it's about designing your environment and mindset to support the change you want. By applying these modified versions of the 4 laws, you can gradually weaken the grip of unwanted behaviors and replace them with choices that align with your goals. The power of identity-based habits. Who are you becoming? Let's take a moment to reflect on something deeper: your identity. Most people approach habit change by focusing on outcomes. I want to lose weight. I want to earn more money. I want to be more productive. But what if the real transformation starts not with what you want to achieve, but with who you want to become? That's the core insight behind identity-based habits, a concept James Clear emphasizes throughout Atomic Habits. Think about it this way. If you see yourself as someone who values health, you're more likely to choose nutritious meals and regular exercise, not because you're forcing yourself, but because it aligns with who you are. If you identify as a writer, showing up to write every day feels natural, even when inspiration is lacking. When your habits are tied to your identity, they stop feeling like chores and start feeling like expressions of who you truly are. But how do you actually shift your self-perception? It starts with small decisions. Every time you act in alignment with the person you want to be, you reinforce that identity. If you want to become someone who reads more, pick up a book even if it's just a few pages. If you want to be a disciplined saver, start by putting aside just $5 a day. These tiny actions may seem insignificant, but they send a powerful message to your brain. This is who I am. Clear explains that identity change is a gradual process, not an overnight switch. It's not about making drastic declarations like, I'm going to be a completely new person starting today. Instead, it's about making choices that slowly reshape your self-image. Over time, as you accumulate evidence of these behaviors, your beliefs about yourself begin to shift. You stop seeing yourself as someone who struggles with discipline and start seeing yourself as someone who consistently follows through. So ask yourself, who do I want to become? And more importantly, what small habits would that version of me naturally do every day? Because once you start living in alignment with that vision, habit change stops being a battle and starts becoming second nature. The role of environment in shaping behavior. When it comes to habit formation, your environment plays a silent but powerful role. Think of your surroundings as an invisible force that either supports or sabotages your efforts. After all, humans are creatures of habit. We thrive on routines, cues, and environmental triggers that shape our daily choices without us even realizing it. That's why structuring your environment to support good habits and discourage bad ones is one of the most effective ways to ensure lasting change. Consider this. Imagine you're trying to eat healthier, but every time you open your fridge, you're greeted by rows of sugary drinks and processed snacks. No matter how strong your willpower, repeatedly resisting temptation is exhausting. Now picture a different scenario. Your fridge is stocked with fresh fruits, vegetables, and healthy meal options, while the junk food is tucked away in the back or eliminated entirely. Suddenly, making the right choice becomes effortless. This is the power of environment design. When you arrange your surroundings to encourage positive behaviors, you reduce the mental effort required to stay consistent. The same principle applies to other aspects of life. If you want to read more, place a book on your nightstand or set up a cozy reading nook. If you're trying to stay focused while working, designate a distraction-free zone and remove clutter that pulls your attention elsewhere. Even something as simple as laying out your workout clothes the night before can increase the likelihood of hitting the gym in the morning. The key is to make the habits you want easy and the habits you don't want difficult. Beyond physical spaces, your social environment also influences your behavior. People naturally conform to the norms of the groups they belong to, which means surrounding yourself with individuals who embody the habits you aspire to adopt can be incredibly motivating. If you want to be more disciplined with your finances, joining a budgeting group can provide accountability. If you're aiming to improve your fitness, working out with friends who share similar goals can help reinforce consistency. By intentionally curating your environment, both physical and social, you set yourself up for success without relying solely on willpower. The science behind habit formation, how your brain builds routines to truly master habit formation. It's essential to understand how habits are created in the first place. At the core of every habit is a neurological loop known as the habit cycle, consisting of 4 key components: cue, craving, response, and reward. This cycle is what makes habits automatic over time, allowing you to perform complex behaviors with little conscious thought. Think about driving a car when you first learned. Every action felt deliberate and effortful, but now you can navigate traffic while barely thinking about it. That's the power of habit formation. The cycle begins with a cue, which acts as a trigger for your brain to initiate a specific behavior. Cues can be external, like seeing your phone light up with a notification, or internal, such as feeling stressed and reaching for a snack. Your brain is constantly scanning for cues that signal a potential reward, which leads to the second stage, craving. Cravings are the motivational force behind every habit. They're not just about wanting something, but about seeking a change in state. You don't necessarily want the cigarette itself, you want the relief from stress that smoking provides. Once the craving is activated, your brain moves into the response phase, which is the actual habit you perform. Whether it's checking social media, grabbing a cup of coffee, or going for a run, the response depends on how motivated you are and how much friction exists between you and the action. If the behavior is easy and rewarding, your brain is more likely to repeat it. Finally, the reward stage delivers the payoff, either a tangible result, like the taste of food, or an emotional shift, like the dopamine hit from receiving a social media notification. Rewards reinforce the habit loop, teaching your brain what worked and increasing the likelihood that the behavior will be repeated. Understanding this cycle is crucial because it gives you insight into how to modify your habits. By identifying the cues that trigger your behaviors and adjusting the rewards you receive, you can rewire your brain to support the habits you want. Whether you're trying to build a new routine or break an old one, recognizing the mechanics behind habit formation empowers you to take control of your behavior and create lasting change. Tracking progress. Measuring small wins for big results. Tracking your habits isn't just about staying accountable, it's about giving yourself a clear picture of your progress. When you can visually see how often you've followed through on a habit, it reinforces the idea that you're capable of consistency. Whether it's marking off days on a calendar, using a habit tracking app, or jotting down notes in a journal, the act of recording your behavior turns abstract goals into tangible achievements. Think about it. If you're trying to build a daily meditation habit, seeing a string of check marks on your calendar gives you a sense of momentum. Each small win fuels your motivation, making it more likely that you'll continue. But tracking isn't just about celebration, it's also a tool for reflection. When you look back at your habit log, you can spot patterns. Did you skip your workout 3 times last week because of late-night meetings? Did you fall off your hydration goal whenever you were rushed in the morning? These insights help you adjust your environment or routine to make future success easier. Maybe you decide to schedule your workouts earlier in the day or prepare your water bottle the night before. By analyzing your data, you refine your system rather than relying solely on willpower. Another benefit of tracking is that it keeps you honest. Sometimes, we convince ourselves we're doing better than we really are. Keeping a record prevents self-deception and grounds you in reality. If you notice that you only stuck to your habit 50% of the time last month, that's valuable information. Instead of beating yourself up, use it as a learning opportunity. What worked? What got in the way? How can you tweak your approach moving forward? So, here's your challenge. Pick one habit you want to build and commit to tracking it for the next 7 days. It could be something as simple as drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning, or reading for 10 minutes before bed. At the end of the week, review your progress. Celebrate your successes, note any obstacles, and adjust your plan accordingly. You might be surprised at how much clarity and confidence tracking brings to your habit-building journey. The ripple effect. How small changes create massive results. Imagine dropping a single pebble into a still pond. At first, the impact seems minor as small ripples spreads outward. But as the waves expand, they grow, intertwining with each other, eventually transforming the entire surface of the water. This is the essence of habit formation. Small, seemingly insignificant actions compound over time, creating profound and lasting effects. In Atomic Habits, James Clear illustrates how tiny improvements, just 1% better each day, can lead to dramatic results over the course of a year. That's the power of compounding. Consistency trumps intensity. Let's break it down with a simple analogy. Imagine two people start saving money. One invests $1 every day, while the other saves $100 once a month. At first glance, the monthly saver seems to be making a bigger impact. But over time, the daily saver's contributions accumulate faster due to compounding interest. The same principle applies to habits. Reading for 15 minutes a day might not seem life-changing, but over a year, that adds up to dozens of books and a wealth of knowledge. Going for a short walk each evening might feel trivial, but over months, it contributes to improved health and increased energy levels. The key is that small actions, repeated consistently, yield exponential results. The reverse is also true. Small negative habits compound just as quickly. Skipping a workout once might not affect your fitness, but doing it repeatedly leads to declining health. Eating one extra snack might not cause weight gain, but doing it daily adds up. The difference between success and failure often comes down to these tiny choices. That's why focusing on systems rather than goals is so crucial. Instead of obsessing over an end result, concentrate on building processes that naturally lead to progress. When you prioritize daily improvement, the long-term outcome becomes almost inevitable. Staying consistent, navigating setbacks without giving up. Let's face it, no matter how well-designed your habit system is, there will be moments when you slip up. Life gets busy, motivation wanes, and unexpected challenges throw you off track. But here's the thing. Setbacks are not failures, they're part of the process. The key to long-term success isn't avoiding mistakes altogether. It's knowing how to recover quickly when they happen. One of the most powerful concepts in Atomic Habits is the idea of never missing twice. Missing a single day of a habit is normal. Everyone experiences lapses. But if you miss 2 days in a row, it becomes easier to justify missing 3, then 4, and so on. That's why the best strategy isn't perfection, it's resilience. When you inevitably stumble, the goal is to acknowledge the setback, reset, and get back on track as soon as possible. Think of it like riding a bike. If you fall, you dust yourself off and hop back on instead of deciding you're never going to ride again. Another effective way to stay consistent is by embracing flexibility. Life rarely goes according to plan, and rigid adherence to a strict routine can set you up for frustration. If you plan to go for a morning jog but woke up late, try a quick workout at home instead. If you missed your usual meditation session, take 5 deep breaths during your commute. The point isn't to stick to a specific method, it's to maintain the habit loop in whatever way you can. Flexibility allows you to adapt without abandoning your progress altogether. Additionally, it helps to build in recovery mechanisms. If you know you tend to lose steam after a few weeks, create checkpoints where you reassess your habits and make adjustments. Maybe you need to tweak your environment, simplify the habit, or add a new reward system. Regular reflection keeps you aware of what's working and what needs refinement. And above all, be kind to yourself. Progress isn't linear, and expecting perfection only sets you up for disappointment. The most successful habit formers aren't the ones who never falter, they're the ones who keep going despite the occasional misstep, creating a culture of growth. building habits within teams and organizations. While Atomic Habits primarily focuses on individual behavior change, its principles extend far beyond personal development. They can be applied to teams, organizations, and even entire cultures. Just as individuals build habits through repetition and reinforcement, groups develop collective behaviors based on shared norms, expectations, and environments. Whether you're leading a team, managing a company, or collaborating with colleagues, understanding how habits shape organizational dynamics can lead to lasting improvements in performance, communication, and innovation. One of the most powerful applications of habit science in organizations is the creation of systems that naturally encourage desired behaviors. For example, companies that prioritize continuous learning often implement structured routines like weekly skill-building sessions or peer LED workshops to embed growth into daily operations. Similarly, organizations aiming to improve communication might establish rituals such as daily check-ins or structured feedback loops, ensuring that transparency and collaboration become second nature. By designing environments where positive habits are the default, leaders can foster a culture of excellence without relying solely on motivation or enforcement. Another key insight from Atomic Habits is the role of identity in shaping behavior. Just as individuals form identities around their habits, I'm a runner, I'm a reader, organizations develop collective identities that influence how employees perceive themselves and their work. A company that sees itself as innovative will naturally encourage risk-taking and experimentation, while a team that identifies as customer-focused will prioritize service and responsiveness. Leaders can reinforce these identities through storytelling, recognition programs, and mission-driven decision-making, aligning individual habits with broader organizational goals. Additionally, habit stacking, an approach where new behaviors are linked to existing routines, can be applied at a systemic level. For instance, if a team wants to improve meeting efficiency, they might incorporate a brief planning ritual before each session, ensuring discussions stay focused and productive. Over time, these small, consistent practices compound, leading to measurable improvements in workflow and collaboration. By leveraging the same behavioral principles that drive individual habit formation, organizations can cultivate a culture of continuous improvement, one small change at a time. The final push: turning insights into action. You've made it through the core ideas of Atomic Habits. You understand how small changes compound, how identity shapes behavior, and how environment influences action. Now, the real test begins: turning these insights into meaningful, lasting habits. It's one thing to grasp the theory, it's another to live it. So, let's wrap this up with a challenge, one that pushes you to take immediate action. Here's your mission: pick one habit you want to build or break and apply the 4 laws of behavior change to it. Whether it's reading more, exercising regularly, reducing screen time, or improving your work habits, choose something that resonates with your goals. Then, take the following steps. Make it obvious. Design your environment to remind you of the habit. Place a book on your desk, lay out your workout clothes, or set a visible timer for focused work sessions. Make it attractive. Pair the habit with something you already enjoy. Listen to your favorite podcast while jogging, or reward yourself with a favorite snack after completing a task. Make it easy. Eliminate friction. Start with just 5 minutes of meditation. Write 1 sentence in your journal, or do a single push-up. Anything that makes the habit effortless to begin. Make it satisfying. Track your progress. Use a habit tracker, mark your calendar, or celebrate small wins to reinforce consistency. Remember, habit formation isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. You just need to take one small, deliberate step forward. So, what will you do differently tomorrow? Whatever it is, commit to it fully. Because the difference between success and stagnation isn't in grand gestures, it's in the tiny choices you make every day.